Welcome, everybody. Good evening and Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Va-Dor's first special program called Shabbat, Shirah, and Havdalah, Rest, Song, and Separation, presented by Va-Dor, with, of course, our famous Andrew David Susman. We're about to embark on a wonderful service provided to us by educator and cantorial soloist Andrew Susman. There will be moments for you to read some of the beautiful prayers and blessings and readings on the screen and to internalize them, creating a more spiritual time for all of us, where we can take the time or just to quiet the noise and meditate from our daily lives. We can take some special time just for ourselves. I now welcome you to enjoy this service and participate where and when you like from behind your muted Zoom box. Please leave yourselves muted unless we ask you to unmute. I now turn it over to Andrew Susman. If you'll give me one moment, I will be sharing my screen. Give me 1 second. So here is our first slide. Welcome to a taste of Shabbat, Shirah, and Havdalah with Andrew David Susman. I turn it over to Andy.
Well, the first thing I want to do on this slide, some of you may not have seen our new logo, Congregation Va-Dor. So we're rolling that out in the last few days. And then we have a new website, and Carol's on there, I'm on there. Everybody's listed as part of the staff there. Of course, Arnie, our master-in-chief of all the beautiful Shabbat programs. So tonight, we are, as you can see from the title of the program, we're having a reprise of Shabbat. We will be doing some Shacharit morning service stuff, and then we're going to segue from that into Ma'ariv, the evening service, and then we'll close with Havdalah. So without any further ado, let's begin. So some thoughts on prayer. For me, the word daven is critical. And it means, and I believe this definition came from Reb Zalman, who's a famous rabbi in the Jewish renewal movement, to pray with soul, to surprise yourself in prayer. And just sit for a moment with that. You may have heard the word daven, but may not have realized what it meant. Pray with soul, surprise yourself in prayer. So as you read, maybe have a new take on some of the words. Maybe they hit you. Maybe they land a little differently each time you read them. Spirituality is not a thing to be taught or imparted by study. It must be felt in the innermost power of the soul as the glow of the heart touched by God. And then better a short prayer spoken with intention than a long one prayed without. Sharon, what prayer can do?
What prayer can do? Prayer cannot mend a broken bridge, rebuild a ruined city, or bring water to parched fields. Prayer can mend a broken heart, lift up a discouraged soul, and strengthen a weakened will.
The summer day. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper. I mean the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention how to fall down in the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Mary Oliver.
A reprise from Birkot HaShachar, Blessings of Dawn. Salutation to the dawn. Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the verities and realities of your existence, the bliss of growth, the glory of action, the splendor of beauty. For yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision. But today, well lived makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day. Such is the salutation to the dawn. Kalidasa.
And when we wake up in the morning, just a few hours ago, hopefully you recited the Modeh, Moda, Ani, if you're a woman. Goes like this. Modeh Ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam, shechezarta b'nishmati b'chemla. Bechemla, Rabba emunatecha, Rabba emunatecha. I offer thanks to you, ever-living sovereign, that you have restored my soul to me in mercy. How great is your trust. This is one of my favorite practices. I'd like you to take your left hand and look at your left hand, and I want you to say, God is here. And then take your right hand and say, God is there. And take both hands and raise them up and say, God is truly everywhere. Once again, take both hands. Left, right, God is everywhere. Here, there, everywhere. And so let's go through it straight through. God is here. God is there. God is truly everywhere. Take both hands. Left, right, up, down, in, out, all around. Here, there, everywhere. That's where God may be found. This next prayer, the opening service, you may have seen the name earlier, Birchot HaShachar, Blessings of Dawn. And these prayers are grouped in certain categories. The opening prayers are an initial awakening. And so we're coming into consciousness. Modani, Asher Yatzar is the prayer for the body. Here's a beautiful interpretation by Dan Nichols, and I will sing this for you. The transliteration of the Hebrew is off to the left. It says, Baruch Ata Adonai Rofei Chol Basar Umafli La'asot. Baruch Ata Adonai Rofei Chol Basar Umafli La'asot. Baruch Ata Adonai Rofei Chol Basar Umafli La'asot. I thank you for my life, body and soul. Help me realize I am beautiful and whole. I'm perfect the way I am, and a little broken too. I will live each day as a gift I give to you. Baruch atah Adonai, rofei chol basar umafli la'asot. Baruch atah Adonai, rofei chol basar umafli la'asot. Whoa. So, in this section of the service, you have a prayer for the body, and then you have a prayer for the soul. And this melody is by a local rabbi, Rabbi Mark Labowitz, and the English translation is an eclectic blend of different sources. And here's the melody. It goes like this. Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehora hi. Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehora hi. My God, the soul you've given me, so pure is she. My God, the soul you have given me, so pure is she. You create me, you shape me, you breathe me into this life. You create me, you shape me, you breathe me into this life, and you hold me in your divine light. And we're going to segue now into the Nisim B'chol Yom, the daily miracles. I'm sure many of you are familiar with this. The opening miracle is the one that refers to an awareness of the bird of dawn, sometimes the rooster, but we all are familiar that birds are awake even before sunrise. They can already sense the crack of dawn, and I'm a morning person, so I'm quite familiar with that phenomenon. So here we go, and Sharon and I are going to share this with you. And I know you guys are muted. After we recite the Hebrew and the English, you can join behind your muted screen there. Amen. Sharon and I will take care of that, but you can certainly do that in acknowledging. Here we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lasech vivina lehavchin ben yom uvein laila.
Holy One of blessing, your presence fills creation, who has given the bird of dawn the ability to distinguish day from night.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim.
Holy One of blessing, your presence fills creation, who opens the eyes of the blind.
Amen. Matir asurim.
Who frees the captive.
Amen. Zokev Kefufim.
Who lifts up the fallen.
Amen. Rokah Haaretz al Hamayim.
Who stretches the earth over the waters.
Amen. Hamechin mitzadei gaver.
Who strengthens our steps.
Amen. Malbish arumim.
Who clothes the naked.
Amen.
Who gives strength to the weary.
Hanotein la ya'ef koach.
Amen. Who removes sleep from the eyes and slumber from the eyelids.
Hama'avir shena me'inai utnuma me'afapai.
Amen. Who made me in the image of God.
She'asani b'tselem Elohim.
Amen. Who has made me free.
She'asani ben chorin.
Amen. Who made me a Yisrael.
She'asani Yisrael.
Amen. Who girds Yisrael with strength.
Ozer Yisrael bigvura.
Amen. Who crowns Yisrael with splendor.
Oter Yisrael betifara.
Amen.
We are engaged in the study of Torah. We are reciting Hebrew passages from Scripture. So this blessing reminds us that it's a mitzvah to study Torah, to soak, la'asok, in the words of Torah. Sweet is honey, sweet is honey, sweet is honey on our tongue. Sweet is honey, sweet is honey, sweet is honey on our tongue. Let us soak it up, let it all sink in. Sweet words of Torah, let us soak it up, let it all sink in. Sweet words of Torah, sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey on our tongue. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to engage. The Hebrew word is la'asok. We can play on that, to soak with words, or soak in words of Torah. And we all say, Amen. Okay. And we conclude this section of the service. This is our reprise of the morning Birchot HaShachar, and I guess you might say Pesukei de Zimra of some sort. And so we conclude with the Chetzi Kaddish. We've got some beautiful quotes by Lawrence Kushner and David Wolf Blank. Take a moment to read those to yourselves, and then I will engage you with the passage below. So you will notice the common thread of those two quotes, the word mystery. And I think many of us are familiar with this trend to referring to the numinous, the God figure or the God concept with other terms. And I like the word mystery. Kind of like a Carl Sagan-esque kind of a thing. When he was asked, does he believe there's a God? And he's a very clever orator and he promulgates the mysteries of the universe, and he says, I just don't know. So keeps an open-ended question there. So here's the Chetzi Kaddish, which reminds us that the mystery is something that is beyond our ability to comprehend even. And I'm rather than sing this, I'm going to chant the first line, and then I'm going to read this, and I want you to pop in behind your muted screen. Actually, if you want to unmute for a moment, we'll try that. You're going to pop in the bold. So if you want to pop in the word Amen at the end, and then here we go. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
And
I want you to pop in the bold words. Here we go. May your
Wonder
be celebrated. May your
name
be consecrated. May your
brilliance
never fade from the
magnificent
world you made. May your ways
prevail.
in our own days, in our own lives, and in the life of all.
Yisrael.
And we say V'imru,
Amen.
may your
Name
receive the same
beauty
that you bring, though you are
far beyond
the sweetest songs we could ever sing. It's a beautiful interpretation. It's actually a song. We'll get to that some other time, by Dan Nichols. And this concludes our opening section. We are now transitioning into the Ma'ariv service, which is appropriate because here we are. We are in the evening time, and it's still light out, and yet we're going to be right on time for Havdalah by the time it gets dark, maybe. Okay, here we go. Next slide. So, once again,
Please mute yourselves again, please.
Yeah,
Thank
go
you.
back to muting. Yeah, thanks a lot. Appreciate that. But we'll periodically invite you to unmute. So this quote is a wonderful words by Helen Keller. Most of us here of a certain age, we grew up with Helen Keller being this iconic figure. I'm not sure kids today are too familiar with Helen Keller, but they might be. And even with her situation, she was absolute clarity of vision, insight. Her third eye was finely tuned. And so these are words from Helen Keller. I believe that God is in me as the sun is in the color and the fragrance of a flower, the light in my darkness, the voice in my silence. And before we move on, take a moment to think about those words. And a couple weeks ago, I was driving and I saw a bumper sticker, and it said, "May the force be with you." Okay. So,
Suzanne, we'd like to invite you to read this for us, please.
When the world was created, God made everything a little bit incomplete. Rather than making bread grow out of the earth, God made the wheat grow so that we might bake it into bread. Rather than making the earth of bricks, God made it of clay so that we might bake the clay into bricks. Why? So that we might become partners in completing the work of creation. As our day of Shabbat comes to a close, may each of us have been fortunate to have found an opportunity for stepping back and embracing the covenant of rest in celebration of creation. Midrash adapted.
a flame in the sky flaunts the remains of a tired sun. Darkness encroaches, marking a long day's end. Yet I know that this final moment is a beginning. The farewell call on a noisy world of care and travail, to enter a sphere of hope and prayer and peace. I will suspend my soul in God's eternity. I am about to cross your holy bridge in time. And I'm going to ask you to take a quiet moment or two and read these intentions, otherwise known as kavanot. Take a few moments. And so we are transitioning now. This is the call to prayer, the Baruch Hu, and I'm going to sing a kavanah for you, and then we'll do the traditional blessing. In the middle of the page, it says, Baruch Hu, dear one, Shekhinah, holy name. We'll stay muted, but I want you to echo each of those first four phrases. And then the rest of it, listen to the melody and join me. And I'll do this maybe 3 times so you get familiar with the sequence. It's a very spiritual intention. And as you listen to this, you might think that you're listening to a Native American chant. And that's what it does for me. Some of you that were on the Zoom and Schmooze last night got an introduction to this. And it goes like this. Baruch Hu, dear one, Shekhinah, holy name. When I call on the light of my soul, I come home. Baruch Hu, dear one, Shekhinah, holy name. When I call on the light of my soul, I come home. Baruch Hu, dear one, Shekhinah, holy name. When I call on the light of my soul, I come home. As we bless the source of light and life, so we are blessed. And all of you here tonight, this evening, are participating. And that is part of leaning in, part of creating community. And hopefully we will be surprised in prayer and praying with soul. We will be davening together as a community, as a minyan. As we bless the source of light, so we are blessed. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. And the blessing gives us strength and makes our visions clear. And the blessing gives us peace and the courage to dare. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. As we bless the source of light, so we are blessed. And if you are able to, please rise, or rise in your heart for the traditional Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Va'ed. You may be seated. Before we get to the next slide, oh, there we go. We're off to it.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim. Bechokma poteach she'arim, ובתבונה משנה עתים ומחליף את הזמנים ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמרותיהם ברקיע כרצונו ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב ערבים.
Okay, so you just heard the Ma'ariv, and so there are certain prayers that delineate a morning service from an evening service. In the morning service, there are two in particular, the Yotzer and Ahava Rabbah. In the evening service, it's Ma'ariv Aravim and Ahavat Olam. Sharon will lead us in a responsive reading of this interpretation of Ahavat Olam, and I'd like you to unmute, and we're going to respond with the bold lines.
We are embraced by arms that find us even when we are hidden from ourselves. We are touched by fingers that soothe us even when we are too proud for soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us even when we are too embittered to hear.
We are loved by unending love and unending love.
We are supported by hands that uplift us even in the midst of a fall. We are urged on by eyes that meet us even when we are too weak for meeting. We are loved by an unending love.
We are loved
by unending love and unending love.
Holy One of blessing who loves your people Yisrael, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Please meet yourselves again.
Okay, once again, as we segue into the Shema, here is another intention, a kavanah, to help us get in the right frame of mind, the right soul connection. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live. Fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. Try joining me behind your muted screen. Lean in. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live. Fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. And we will know that you are one. Enlighten our eyes to the divine lessons of our tradition, attach our heart to the imperatives of our faith, and let our minds be one to love and venerate all that is good, high, and holy. And the traditional Shema, we take our right hand, we cover our eyes, if you're so inclined. Some people choose not to, whatever your tradition. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vahed. And we segue into the Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'chol nafshecha u'chol me'odecha. And you shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And all these words which I command you on this day shall be upon your heart, shall be upon your heart. And you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and you shall speak of them when you're sitting in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand. They shall be for frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them on the doorpost of your house, and upon your gates, and upon your gates, that you may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God. We have concluded the opening sections of our service to make way, to prepare for what many regard as the pinnacle of the purpose of prayer, and to commune with Source. The Amidah, otherwise known as Tefillah, the prayer, the core of prayer, is a time for us to engage in more serious introspection and reflection. So let's begin. This melody is by a new person in my world. His name is Charlie Kramer, and it's a beautiful setting. Adonai Sifatai Tiftach Ufiagim Tehilatecha Adonai Sifatai Tiftach Ufiagim Tehilatecha. Open up our lips to speak words that are true. Open up our souls to let our love shine through. Open up our hearts that we may feel our pain as we now rise to praise your name. Adonai, Sifatai Tiftach, Kviagi Tehilaktecha. Can you listen? Will you hear our prayer? Pray as if everything depended on God. Act as if everything depended on you.
Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, not mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will.
In an envelope marked personal, God addressed me a letter. In an envelope marked personal, I have given my answer. And as we approach the conclusion of the Amidah, it is traditional to begin to focus our intentions for peace. And I think we're all of a certain mind that it's really us that need to lean in and do what we can to create peace here. Although our liturgy does ask God to help make peace. And yet, if we are created in the image of God, B'Tselem Elohim, we only have to look to ourselves for peace. Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uvracha. Peace, peace, make peace, 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 make peace, 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 make peace for goodness and for blessing.
Before the gate has been closed, before the last question is posed, before I am transposed, before the weeds fill the gardens, before there are no pardons, before the concrete hardens, before all the flute holes are covered, before things are locked in the cupboard, before the rules are discovered, before the conclusion is planned, before the closing of God's hand, before we have nowhere to stand, bless us with peace. Yehuda Amichai.
Baruch atah Adonai hamavarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. Blessed are you, Eternal One, who blesses the people of Israel with peace.
When we heed one another, there will be peace in the world. When we understand one another, there will be peace in the world. When we love one another, there will be peace in the world. There will be peace in the world when we learn from there will be peace in the world. When we work with one another, there will be peace in the world. Yeah, shalom. Yeah, shalom. Yeah, shalom. Yeah, shalom. We believe that peace will come. We'll see the beauty in everyone. We believe that peace can be, that we're children of one family.
And I want to invite Carol Garrett, our cantorial soloist tonight, to join us, and she's going to share with us Oseh Shalom.
Oseh Shalom bimruma, Yaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'ako Yisrael, ve'imru, amen. Oseh Shalom bimruma, Yaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'ako Yisrael, ve'imru, amen. Sing with me. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu, ve'ako Yisrael, 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 Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu, ve'ako Yisrael.
And we're gonna conclude our service with the Aleinu, and once again I invite Carol to please lead us.
Hi, thank you again. Aleinu l'shabeach l'don hakol, l'take gedula v'yotzeh bereshit, shelo asanu k'yoreh haratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishbechot hadama, shelo sam kilchenu kahem, v'goralenu kechol amona, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim, u'modim, lifnei melech, malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
And then all that has divided us will merge. And then compassion will be wedded to power. And then softness will come to a world that is harsh and unkind. And then both men and women will be gentle. And then both men and women and men will be strong. And then no person will be subject to another's will. And then all will be so varied, rich and free. And then the greed of some will give way to the needs of many. And then all will share equally in the earth's abundance. And then all will care for the sick and the weak and the old. And then all will nourish the young. And then all will cherish life's creatures. And then all will live in harmony with each other and the earth. And then everywhere will be called Eden once again. This is called the Merger Poem by Judy Chicago.
From your lips to God's ears. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz hayom hahu yireh Adonai echad u'shemo
And now we are going to conclude this service, this Ma'ariv service, with the priestly benediction. It's always nice to hear these words, and it's a blessing from Sharon and I to you and to ourselves. It's one of those kind of things that we can all use a little blessing now and again. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka.
May God's face shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God's face be lifted up to you and grant you the precious gift of peace.
V'yasem lecha shalom. And this concludes our service, segueing into Havdalah, welcoming the end of Shabbat. We're about to say goodbye to the bride, and hope all of you had a restful Shabbat, and everything's right on time. The stars are coming out, and this worked out quite well. We didn't really plan it that way. We just started at 7:30, and thankfully it's not the longest day of the year anymore. We're moving along. The days are getting shorter, and so we are right on time. And so before we actually begin Havdalah, I want you to hear this nigun. I'm sure many of you are familiar with it. This melody is from Debbie Friedman, and of blessed memory. Yai lai 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 ya la lai 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 ya la lai lai ya la lai 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 la 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 lai 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 la 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 lai lai ya la lai 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 ya la lai lai ya lai lai.
As Shabbat draws to an end, we hope that the week ahead will continue to bear the light of this day. New and unanticipated challenges await us. We pray that revitalized by Shabbat, we will be sustained throughout the coming week. May the sweetness of the wine and the aroma of the Havdalah spices linger within us as the sun sets and the new week begins. I invite you to bring your candles together, your spices and your wine, and I invite Suzanne Burstein to read the next introduction to Havdalah.
Havdalah means distinction or separation. The ceremony consciously separates the sacred time of Shabbat from the secular time of the approaching week. It marks the close of a 25-hour day, sending us into the coming week with the fragrant spices of Shabbat. This stretching of time reflects how special is the day of rest in life of many Jews. We cannot wait until she arrives and seek to delay her departure. We welcome her like a bride, giving her a warm and sweet reception and an equally warm and spiritual send-off. We light the candle. We give thanks for the Sabbath day that is now ending. We are grateful for its many blessings, for the peace and joy, rest for the body, and refreshment to the soul. May something of its meaning and message remain with us as we enter the new week, lifting all that we do to a higher plane of holiness and inspiring us to work with a new heart. We light the Havdalah candle to kindle the light of discernment, allowing us to choose wisely between actions that heal and actions that harm.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Okay,
if you have your candles with you, you can light your candle now. Our Havdalah candle.
So we are going to begin the brachot, the blessings, and as you can see, Sharon has the candle lit. Hopefully some of you do as well. Hopefully you have a spice box or some kind of crucible or vessel with some nutmeg or cloves or cinnamon or something. And then, of course, we have a little bissel of kiddush, maybe a grape juice or some kind of juice. And we can begin now. If you were able to print out your sheet of brachot, that would be helpful, but I will read these and I will sing these as we process through the four brachot. And then when I'm finished, Carol has a beautiful melody to help us frame this concept of lehavdil, to separate. And that's essentially what this service is called, Havdalah. It's a formal demarcation of Shabbat from the rest of the week. And it gives us a chance to get a little verklempt and think about how beautiful the day was before the week begins, and maybe go to sleep with some happy thoughts about the wonderful Shabbos-dic experience we had. So, on that note, the first bracha is the one over the wine. Now, we don't drink the wine just yet. We drink it maybe at the end there, but we can raise it and we recite, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Borei Peri Hagafen. And I'm going to make one little comment here given that Lador Va-Dor is very progressive. You might choose to replace the word melech, which means sovereign or king, with possibly the word ruach, which means spirit. So let's try that again. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ruach ha'olam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam borei peri hagafen. Borei peri hagafen. Yai lai 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 lai. Ya lai 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 lai. Ya lai 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 ya lai lai. So put the wine glass down and raise the spices. Take a little sniff, and these are representative of the beautiful, fragrant ruach, spirit, beautiful wind. Flowers have a yareach, a scent that they emit. So here we go, the second blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ruach ha'olam borei minei v'samim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam borei minei v'samim. Borei minei v'samim. Now, this next blessing is perhaps the most incredible of all. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with this practice, but if you've watched, conservative Jews are mostly familiar with it, but more so even the Orthodox. And what they do is, while they look at the light initially, after that, they don't look at the light directly. They look at the light reflected in their hands, the palm of their hands, or the surface of their fingernails. And here's the deal. If any of us were to clip our fingernails a day or two ago, we would already be seeing new growth. And that is an absolute indication that we are alive, we are vibrant. And so Shabbat is our opportunity to remind ourselves that this plane we're on, P-L-A-I-N, or even P-L-A-N-E as in a geometric plane, is a moment to be acknowledged and embraced, and we are alive. So the next blessing of the candle, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ruach ha'olam borei me'orei ha'esh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ruach ha'olam borei me'orei ha'esh. Borei me'orei ha'esh. Now, the fourth blessing is unique. It has particular verbiage. I don't have the translation here for you guys to read, but the fourth blessing goes into the concept of separation and separating the sacred from the profane. And I'm not sure I like the word profane so much, but the special from the ordinary. We can use that reference. And so let's go with that. The fourth blessing reminds us that it's like having a highlighter. Here's a highlighter. And if you highlight everything, nothing's important. So you have to use this tool selectively. And then you can accentuate certain things that are more important than others. So on that note, let's highlight Shabbat. So the last blessing goes like this, quite a few words there. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavdil ben kodesh lechol separating the holy from the ordinary, from all else. Bein or lechoshech, light from darkness. Bein Yisrael la'amin, between the people of Israel and other nations. Bein Yom HaShvi'i, the seventh day, l'sheshet yemei ha'ma'aseh, God created. So the seventh day, the day of rest, is a special day. So, on that note, here comes, I'll do an abridged version just so I want to get to Carol's melody. And it goes like this. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavdil ben kodesh lechol ben kodesh lechol. And I turn this over to Carol, who has a beautiful melody emphasizing Havdalah, lehavdil, to separate. Carol.
Amen. So this is written by Eric Hunker. Hamavdil, Hamavdil ben Kodesh, Kodesh, Kodesh lecho. Hamavdil, Hamavdil ben Kodesh, Kodesh, Kodesh lecho. Shavua, Shavua tov. Shavua, Shavua tov. Shavua, Shavua tov. We welcome the spirit of Eliyahu to come be with us, to bring the light of a new day, but also to bring the healing of the planet and the world. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hakiladi, Bimhera v'yamenu, Yavo aleinu, Moshiach ben David, Moshiach ben David, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hakiladi. And it's often for many families accustomed to open a door to allow Eliyahu to come in. So if you want to open a door to allow Eliyahu, the prophet, to come in, the Messiah, to bring healing to your home in the world, you can do that very quickly, and we'll sing quickly one more time. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you, Carol.
Miriam HaNeviah, Oz וזמרה בידה, Miriam תרקוד איתנו, להגדיל זמרת עולם. Miriam תרקוד איתנו, לתקן את העולם. במהרה בימינו יבוא אלינו, במהרה בימינו היטבנו אל מי הישועה. מרים הנביאה, עוז וזמרה בידה, מרים תרקוד איתנו, להגדיל זמרת עולם. And we conclude once again with the phrase Shavua Tov. Shavua Tov, 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 Shavua Tov. A good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and light increase. A good week of peace. May gladness reign and light increase. And this next song, Shavua Tov, pretty much gives us a nice reprise of the entire experience of Shabbat and Havdalah. The twisted candle brightens our hearts as together we watch Sabbath depart. We smell the spices, taste the wine as the stars in the sky begin to shine. Shavua Tov, may you have a good week. May you find the happiness you seek. Shavua Tov, may your week be fine. May it be as sweet as Sabbath wine. We say goodbye to a special friend. Another Shabbat has come to an end. Shavua Tov are the words we speak to say may you have a happy week. Shavua Tov, may you have a good week. May you find happiness you seek. Shavua Tov, may your week be fine. May it be as sweet as Sabbath wine. One more time, the chorus. Shavua Tov, may you have a good week. May you find happiness you seek. Shavua Tov, may your week be fine. May it be as sweet as a Sabbath wine. May it be as sweet as a Sabbath wine. Well, I want to thank Carol for joining us. I want to thank Sharon, who did a yeoman or a woman's job helping put this together. And thank Temple Va-Dor for making this opportunity. And all of you for showing up and being present and davening, allowing yourselves to be surprised in prayer and praying with soul. And I look forward to doing this again in the not too distant future. And I wish you a Shana Tova. It's a little early, but we're almost at that junction. So anyway, Sharon, take it away.
We wish you shalom. We wish you Laila Tov. We wish you Shavua Tov.